Digital Resilience Speaker and Executive Director of YSafe, Yasmin London. Good morning to you both. Yasmin, these telecommunication networks, they're woven into so many layers of our society. I mean, how do you think yesterday's outage was handled?
Not particularly well, if I'm honest. I think, you know, issues happen in all businesses. They had an impact to their core network. But I think, as you mentioned, you know, 9 hours to resolve something like this, and the lack of communication has been really, really poor. You know, 400,000 businesses were impacted. Hospitals, you know, were impacted. People couldn't call 000. That's serious stuff that needs to be resolved.
Betsy, from the very top of government all the way down to someone just waiting to catch an Uber or pay for a coffee or something, all the way and everything in the middle, how damaging will this be for the brand?
Well, hugely damaging. We had mentioned that data breach that happened last year. That cost them $1.2 billion in brand value already. So this, on the back of that, it's going to cost billions of dollars. It's going to affect the share price, which is already down 4.4%. Staff morale, it was a bad day at the office yesterday for Telstra, so that's going to lead to turnover, customers leaving, and also customers seeking compensation, as well as you mentioned that there will be some regulatory inquiry, so potentially some fines. So it's not looking good for the Telstra balance sheet, that's for sure.
Optus,
Optus, sorry, Telstra.
Optus balance sheet's looking good because everyone's swapping over.
Telstra. Set us off.
Yes, we're hearing Optus has refused the possibility of compensation because all these businesses are saying we couldn't do business. We've lost a whole day's trading, at least a whole day's trading. What is the recourse for any sort of compensation? Optus are already shutting it down, saying no.
Yeah, and which I'm really surprised by. I understand that that's going to cost a lot of money, but gosh, it's a bold move on the back of such a damaging event. So as a customer, your first point of call is actually making a complaint. So you can seek compensation for the cost of your contract and the outage time that you had no service available. But then as a business owner, it's really important, and this has been encouraged by the Telecommunications Ombudsman, to say, calculate the cost to your business and seek compensation from that. If the response is unsatisfactory, you can go to the Ombudsman. And of course, you can vote with your feet as an Optus customer. I've got to stop doing that, Optus customer. Because, you know, go find a provider that's reliable. We've had 2 major, you know, breaks in service and trust. So, but when you're doing that, make sure that you're not actually switching to another Optus network provider. So
That's right, because some of the smaller guys use the big guys to piggyback on, right?
That's right, they use the network.
Yeah. Yasmin, thankfully, we're not talking about a cyber attack, as far as we know at this point. They're talking about a system update gone wrong. But you say it's still a good time to have a think about your security, your privacy settings, and be vigilant.
Absolutely. I think what we saw yesterday is a little snapshot of the holy grail when it comes to threat actors and cyber attacks, and that's an attack on our supply chain. So when systems go down, when networks go down, when millions of people are suffering from the effects of that, that's a really good indication of what can happen. And, you know, someone like Optus being held to ransom. So very important to consider what you can do to keep yourself safe.
Being a digital expert as you are, though, I mean, I know nothing about this, but if you're doing a system update, isn't there some sort of procedure built in that if that does, you know, we're going to do this, but if it goes wrong, you know, we might be a hiccup, but it'll be fixed in 10 minutes. Why isn't there that sort of infrastructure in such an important supply chain?
That's the $1 million question, Kylie, because, you know, it really speaks to their system testing and their monitoring and the resources that are being put into this. I think that'd be something that they will definitely be looking at now. But for such a large organisation to have had something like that happen for such an extended period of time and not be able to resolve it, it's really problematic. I mean, Telstra and Dodo had a similar issue not so long ago, and they were able to resolve it within about 45 minutes. So there's a big question around that.
Yeah.
You say it's $1 million question. I think according to the share price, it's a $2 billion question. Betsy, where to now from Optus? I guess we'll expect to see some good pricing to make us happier, new plans coming about, that sort of thing. Is that a strategy?
Absolutely. They need to be on the offensive with really building back their reputation. So good pricing, lots of sponsorship, marketing campaigns, talking about their customer satisfaction and loyalty, really pushing that, but also being really proactive around the investment that they're going to be making in their infrastructure, proving why they ought to be relied upon and trusted again, because like we said, there's been 2 major incidents. So that investment, and they're going to have to invest in their staff morale, because I reckon there'll be a lot of staff turnover on the back of this as well. So
Oh, those
proactive
people in
on
those shop
things.
fronts yesterday, particularly in the call centres, can you imagine?
Did you just see the 6 o'clock news last night?
Oh, gosh.
They sweat dripping off them. Yasmin, if we do want to bolster our personal cyber security, taking some personal ownership, what do we do?
We control the controllables. So we will do some sort of tech health check. So have a look at your privacy settings, making sure that you're getting in touch with your provider and seeing if there's anything else that you need to be doing, making sure you speak to your banks. You've got 2-factor authentication on all of your accounts, or Google authenticators, which are even better. Really make sure that your security is robust and make sure that you're prepared for the unexpected as best you can. So making sure that we're not responding to contact out of the blue, for example, that might be a problem.
Yeah, so that might happen now too. Optus spam stuff happening, not from Optus but from other people.
Absolutely. So be really aware,
scams.
because threat actors will leverage this. They will understand that people are waiting for answers and are wanting to do something to make sure that they're not victimised in some way, and that's where those false reports will start coming through.
Yeah.
It's exactly why I went and bought a burner phone yesterday. I bought 2, but I only told my wife that I bought 1.
Yes, I know.
Good opportunity, just like to keep things safe.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
From your wife, yeah.
Whoa, hey, hang on a second there. Allegedly, I think is the word you're looking for.